Ms Legalista here. Thank you for joining the video. I'm telling you, I was shocked to sort of see this pop up in my feed. iPhones not protected. Google phones, Androids, have a way to, I guess, for you to take some sort of action that you can protect your phone a little bit more. They have some intercept technology. You guys, I'm feeling like I'm in some sort of covert world now with the terms that we're using. We're going to talk about SMS blasting, fake cell towers, boxes people can carry around. Look, we're going to start with a news report. Then we're going to take a look at things a little bit more in depth from a Forbes article. And then finally, we're going to wrap this up with an article from this Google security blog that breaks all of this down from beginning to end. This is definitely something that you want to know about if you have an iPhone, especially. And if you have an Android, because at least you know that there's something that you can do. Let me go ahead and pop over to this news article, this news report, so that we can get the background on what's going on.
For your money this morning, scammers have a new tool to go after your money by literally tricking your phone into connecting to a signal from a fake cell tower. And if you have an iPhone, you're more at risk. Zach Myers is here to tell us about SMS blasters. It just doesn't sound good.
No, it's not. And it's not even a tower. It's like a little box they carry around. Google just put out the warning about this technology that some of the bad guys are using, this small device that sends out a signal like a little cell tower and tricks nearby phones to connecting to it instead of your real phone carrier, your network. They're small enough for crooks to drive around with them in their car. There have been some reports of scammers walking around with them in their backpacks. If you're close enough to it, your phone might actually connect to it instead of your Verizon or AT&T or whatever you're on. If that happens, you can be in trouble, because the signal from the SMS blaster bypasses all the security that your network uses to filter out spam calls and texts. So the bad guys can blast you with as many messages as they want, as long as you're connected to their signal. And of course, that's how they often get people to click on bad links or upload malware on devices. As far as protecting yourself, there is good news, but also bad news. SMS blasters use the mostly obsolete 2G network. Remember that? Network carriers don't even use it anymore, but it's still out there, and phones can still connect to it if there's a signal. Google says Android users can go into their settings and disable 2G on their phones. If you do that, you're good. You're safe from these devices. Your phone won't connect to them. However, there's currently no way specifically to disable 2G on the iPhone without putting it into lockdown mode. So iPhone users could be more at risk from these devices right now. Now, it's possible Apple could make this an option at some point.
Wow. Okay. So all of that background there that you needed to hear about in order to be able to understand what's going on. Android phone users seem to be a little bit more protected than iPhone users. Can you imagine? Do you know how many iPhone users there are out there? Tons. And did you see the picture? I should try to go back to that. The picture of the one that was in the car, where they just had it sitting in the car and it looked like it was connected to a laptop. Like, these people are working hard to get your information so they can park this car. And if you are standing nearby, probably is not as effective if you're walking by, because you're going to keep going and you're going to be eventually out of range. But if you are standing nearby, then this might be what is going on in a car parked next to the sidewalk. Look at this. Look at this laptop connected to the box there. They've got the battery, they've got all the lines there, all the connections in the car. They are ready to go. Look at this. This is what is going on with this. And so you're going to be more at risk if you have an iPhone, unless you're locking down your iPhone. Who locks down their iPhone? Nobody, because we're all walking around using our iPhones. Nobody's locking those things down. We're walking around, walking into things because we aren't paying attention. So yes, so this is a really big problem. And Google has just put this information out here in the last 5 or so days, within the last week. I've just started seeing this pop up recently. So this is definitely something that you want to share with other people. And it may be, now I don't know because I haven't seen an article say this yet, but at the top of your phone where it says 5G up there and you can see where it says 5G, it could be that when your phone switches over to this 2G network that maybe it no longer says that. Maybe that's something you can look for. I don't know. Apple has not provided us with any information yet on ways that we can protect ourselves from this. So right now, we really don't know a whole lot about this. Let's take a minute to look at this article in Forbes because they talk a little bit about it too. I mean, we just heard all of that, I guess, from the news report. But let's take a look at this article if I can bring it up so that I can read it. All right. So stop using this dangerous setting on your phone, warns Google. Okay, but here's the thing. It's not so much as you using a setting as it is other people uh, walking around with this SMS blaster. And that sounds like that's more of the issue. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at this article. It says Android 15 is almost here. And amongst this wide range of security and privacy innovations, there's one that really stands out. And they're talking about this intercept technology. I need to put on my glasses. Intercept tech presents your phone with what looks like a nearby cell tower, which is what he talked about in that news report, tricking the device into switching from a legitimate network to a ghost one. While more recent and costly variants options work over LTE, most readily available systems knock your phone down to 2G, which is fairly insecure before establishing a connection. And so that's the problem. You're switching down to this 2G where you don't have as many security features. And so all of a sudden, you're more at risk of somebody else sending you something that has scam links. You heard him. He went through all of that. It says these SMS blasters are readily available to buy. At some point in time, some of these things have legitimate purposes, and then people find out you can use them for other things, and that's what they start to do. These SMS blasters are readily available to buy and relatively easy to use, and the payoffs can be compelling, whereas network-based smishing commonly yields a small return, as it is very difficult to get these messages to fly undetected because you've got anti-spam filters and all of that. This alternative method guarantees all messages will reach a victim. The fraudster can control all fields of the message. One can make the message look like it is coming from the legitimate SMS aggregator of a bank. So there you are. You've been pulled down from your 5G network to this 2G network. You have something pop up on your phone. It totally looks like it is from your bank, and you respond. The only problem is it's not from your bank. It's a result of this SMS blaster. Let me get rid of that. This SMS blaster. I mean, who thinks of this stuff, and how are we supposed to keep up? I just don't understand how we're supposed to keep up with all of this stuff. It's just too much of it. I can hardly keep up myself. All right, so I want to go to this security blog page so that we can take a look at that. So it says Google security blog. And this, like I said, this just came out a few days ago. So this is dated August 1st, 2024. You can see it's security team, privacy team there. Cell site simulators. Who can keep up with all these names? Cell site simulators, also known as false base stations or stingrays. I need a whole new glossary for this. Are radio devices that mimic real cell sites in order to lure mobile devices to connect to them. These devices are commonly used for security and privacy attacks, such as surveillance and interception of communications. In recent years, carriers have started reporting new types of abuse perpetrated with FBSs, false base stations, for the purposes of financial fraud. Oh my goodness. In particular, there is increasingly more evidence of the exploitation of weaknesses in cellular communication standards, leveraging cell site simulators to inject SMS phishing messages directly into smartphones. This message to inject messages entirely bypasses the carrier network. That's what they were saying, thus bypassing all the sophisticated network-based anti-spam and anti-fraud filters. You're basically out there naked. It's like not having any clothes on, going out into the world, and the space that you're standing in is filled with mosquitoes. That's what I think of when I read this. I'm just going to be eaten alive here. Thus bypassing the anti-spam and anti-fraud filters. Instances of this new type of fraud, which carriers refer to as SMS blaster fraud, have been reported in Vietnam, France, Norway, Thailand, and multiple other countries. In other words, it's worldwide. They're not picking any sort of geography. It's such, hey, let's just go after everybody. There's a briefing paper. Again, you can see some information here. Here's the part that they were talking about in the news report. There have even been reports of fraudsters carrying these devices in their backpacks. Look at this picture, the same one you saw in the news report, the backpack. And then you can see the device is sending out its signal from the backpack. And people who are standing around, if you're standing there long enough and you stay there, you're going to be more susceptible to having your cell phone connect to that instead of the one that it should be connecting to. And that's what you see here. This method is straightforward and replicates known techniques to trick mobile devices to an attacker-controlled 2G network. SMS blasters expose a fake LTE or 5G network, which executes a single function, downgrading the single function, the thing that it does, downgrading the user's connection to a legacy 2G protocol. The same device also exposes a fake 2G network, which lures all the devices to connect to it. Wow. Okay. Well, how readily available is this stuff? Look at this. SMS blasters are sold on the internet. And I did a Google search, and yes, there they were. And do not require deep technical expertise. Nothing does. You can go on YouTube and find a video for just about anything. They are simple to set up and ready to operate, and users can easily configure them to imitate a particular carrier or network using a mobile app. Look at that. Users can also easily configure and customize the SMS payload as well as its metadata, including, for example, the sender number. Remember that part where they said they can make it look like it's text aggregation, multiple text coming from a bank, a legitimate bank. SMS blasters are very appealing to fraudsters, giving their great return on investment. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Although the type of abuse carriers are uncovering recently is financial fraud, there is precedent for the use of rogue cellular base stations to disseminate malware. For example, injecting phishing messages with a URL to download the payload. I tell you, yeah. So if you've got an Android 12, they've got some information here. You can go to this website. I will put the link in the description so that you understand what it is you can do to protect yourself. They've got a number of features here, actions that you can take. For poor Apple, I just don't know what to tell you. You know, I think we're out of luck until they come up with, I don't know, is it a patch, a software phone update or something to help us protect ourselves? Otherwise, at any given time, you need to turn your phone off. Imagine going on vacation and just leaving your cell phone on that night and not realizing that somebody is out in the hall, going slowly up and down the hall with one of these SMS blasters and hooking your stuff up there. If you've still got it on, I don't know what happens. Does that mean when you turn it on the next time that it's hooking up to that? If that person's still there, the person can hang out waiting for you to wake up in the morning, and you pick up your phone and you start checking things and you don't even realize as you're checking when you got up that there's somebody outside the door who's caused you to hook up to their 2G network. And the next thing you know, that's what you're doing, because you wake up in the morning foggy, not sure what's going on. But it's those kinds of situations where your guard is down. And that's why I said walking around, standing in a spot, talking to people, you're less likely to have your guard up. You're less likely to be looking at your phone to see whether or not there's something fishy going on. Is it connecting to a 2G network, or is it still on the 5G network? And maybe even if I get something that says it's from my carrier that says, hey, we're having some issues right now. We noticed that there's some things going on. We're going to take this down to 2G. And because it says Verizon and all this other stuff, you think that's legitimate. I don't know. The world has gotten totally out of hand with this stuff. Like I said, the number of phrases, the definitions, the special words, the terms, who can keep up? I cannot keep up. And I'm reading this stuff almost every single day. So stay vigilant. I keep saying it, stay vigilant. And maybe we will make it through this period of time with this particular thing that's going on. And maybe they will come up with something to take care of us Apple, iPhone users. Please go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.